Well, this video, I'm going to tell you guys some stories. How do you get off of a speeding ticket? And this is going to be interesting. Just like playing chess, you're going to get caught for speeding. I don't care who you are. Um, you have to think about when the lights are turned on and you're pulling over, what are you going to say? I mean, that's the first thing that goes through your head. What I normally try to do is I try to think, what am I going to say if I have to go to court and fight it? Because you're better off to fight a speeding ticket than you are not to. Now, you may get more of a charge if you fight it, but your odds of coming out the other end are pretty good. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple stories where I was able to get out of a speeding ticket. There was even one with a state trooper, and everybody knows state troopers do not give you breaks. It's not necessarily true. There was one time I was going through town, and I mean, I was doing probably 60 miles an hour. Speed limit is supposed to be 30. And a lot of times I drive with my eyes in the rearview mirror. I'm always looking behind me. And I went by a cop doing 60, but he didn't have radar on. I didn't know that at the time. I see him in the rearview mirror starting to turn around, and I'm like, oh shit, that's a cop. So right away I hit the left blinker, I pull into a gas station, I jump out of the truck and I run inside. And I did that on purpose because I'm no longer in the vehicle, right? I come out of the store with a Coke in hand, and he's sitting there waiting for me. He's angry. Oh, he's pissed. He calls me every name in a book. F this, you prick. I mean, you name it. For like 5 minutes, he reamed me out. But I never got a ticket. That was an old trick I'd learned years ago that if you can pull into a business and go into business, chances are you can fight that pretty good. Unless they got you clocked, it's a little bit harder. It was one time I got off. Didn't get a ticket, but he definitely hurt my pride. Another time, I was coming down the road, 55 was the speed limit, and I was doing 70. And in the United States of America, if you do 20 miles over, I believe, they can pull your license. They have other things they can do. They can make you take a school where you sit through class. You got to pay for that. Um, they have all these little things to make you a good boy. Well, the nice thing about living in small town America, they don't have anything like that. It doesn't exist. And so you don't have to do anything like that. Get into the bigger cities, you do. So I'm going down this road doing 70. The speed limit's 55. And the cop pulls me over, and I pull over. And he comes up to the vehicle, and he says, do you know how fast you were going? And I says to him, I says, yeah, I was doing 55. You never admit you're speeding. Never. That's like an admission of guilt. You got to understand, this cop's carrying a camera on his chest. If you sit back and say, oh, yeah, I was doing about 70, you're done. You have to always think about, if I decide to fight this in court, what am I going to say and how am I going to look? That's the first thing that should go through your head. So he says, no, you weren't doing 55. I says, no, well, what was I doing? He says, oh, I got you clocked at about 71. I said, really? Well, I wonder why that is. My speedometer said 55. I says, you mind if I get out? He says, no, you can get out. So I step out of the vehicle and I'm step back 3 or 4 steps and I'm looking at my tires. And I looked at the cop and I said, do you think the tires have something to do with it? I says, because I got bigger tires on this truck. Maybe the tires have something to do with the speed limit. Is there some place I go get that checked? Well, now he wants to be helpful. So now he's telling me 2 or 3 different garages where you can go check your speeds and they put you on some type of gauge or meter or something and it tells you if your tires are. I'm going through this, right? And I says, well, you can give me a ticket if you want, but I'll definitely have to take this down and get this checked and put on one of those meter things you're talking about. Um, I'm definitely going to take it to court because I was doing 55. That's what I said. He says, no, not this time. I think this time we're going to give you a warning and give you time to go get those tires checked out and make sure everything's good on the vehicle. I says, well, I really appreciate that, officer. He says, you have a good day. Talked my way out of that one. And all this time that I've done this, every time I got back in the vehicle, my wife would be like, how do you do that? I mean, she's literally wishing I got charged. She's like, you're just going to do it again. She's like, you're going to think you can get away with everything. I says, I am not. Everybody gets nailed with a speeding ticket from time to time. And of course, now I got to hear this from my woman. I've never had a speeding ticket in 20 years. I've never had a problem. Do you know what cruise is? I have not a problem. I'm like, oh my God. Oh. And of course, I look over and I say, I know, honey. You're perfect. It's okay. I am not perfect. I said, well, you are when it comes to the speeding tickets. Now, my next one is pretty cool, actually. And this is by a state trooper. Now, I'm going down the road and I'm doing, I don't know, it's a 55 again. It's the same place, actually. And I was doing like, I don't know, 80, 70. I was moving pretty good. And the state trooper pulls me over. And again, he walks up and he says, do you know how fast you're going? I said, I have no idea. I can't even see my speedometer. He says, pardon me? I says, I can't see the speedometer. Something's been going on with my truck this week. My steering wheel keeps turning, and I can't see the dash. So I have no idea how fast I was going. I figured I was doing the speed limit. He said, oh, no, you weren't doing the speed limit. So he actually looked at my dash and seen the steering wheel had turned almost 180. You really couldn't see the dash. He went and looked at the front of the tires to see if I was telling the truth. And he said, that is out of alignment. I said, I know. It's been like that all week. I need to take it into the dealer. I says, but the dealer wants me to make an appointment. I got to find time to go there. It's a 2.5 hour drive. I said, it's an all day ordeal. He says, yeah, I know. That's what it's like in a small town. Well, I'm going to let you go this time, but you really need to get that looked after. I said, I'm going to make an appointment first thing tomorrow. I'm going to take the day off and I'm going to go get it done. It's been like this for a week. It's probably very dangerous. I need to fix this. Now, I did take it to the dealer. Dealer fixed it for free. It was some type of callback or something on the steering column. I have no idea. I'm not a mechanic. But that was a state trooper. And I actually got out of that speeding ticket. Now, there was this other time I didn't get out of the speeding ticket. And this particular town, it feels like a speed trap. And for anybody that lives in the U.S., they'll know what that means. Now, I did break the law. I decided, it came to a 2-lane type of highway. The speed limit there was like 55, and it jumped to 70. And I was like, this is a good place to clean out the engine. And I'm being honest here. I literally stepped on the gas on the truck, and I just opened up all 4 barrels because it's an 8-cylinder. I want that thing to fly. I want to clean out the jets and everything. So I literally went from 40 to 80 in minutes. Cop on the other side went by, lights went on. I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. What are the odds? What are the odds? Sure enough, he comes up. He says, you know how fast you were going? And I'm like, this guy's got me clocked or else he wouldn't have known. I'm like, I'm not even going to try and get out of this. I'm just going to accept it and be done with it. So I says, yeah, I was probably doing 80. I don't know. I says, I was trying to clean out the engine, nothing more. And I didn't see any cars here whatsoever. I figured this was a good, safe place to do it. So he says, oh, license and insurance, because I've already admitted to it. He's got it on camera. So he takes it back to the vehicle and he comes back. He says, well, I see you got your record squeaky clean. I says, yeah, it is. He says, well, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to give you a deal. He's going to give me a deal. I'm like, okay. He says, you know how fast you were going, I could pull your license. I says, no, I didn't know that. Of course I knew that. Give me a break. He says, I'm going to lower it down. I don't know what he lowered it to, but the total bill was $160 or something. He says, if you come into City Hall on that date, where people pay their fines and pay the 160, bring cash. He says, you don't have to go to court. It won't affect your license. You won't get no points, nothing at all. And that was a money grab in that town. I found out through other people in my town. They said they do that all the time. They look. It doesn't matter if you're doing 300 miles an hour. They lower it down to where they pick up the cash, and you just want to pay the cash and walk away. So okay, I don't know. It was like a month later. During that time, I decide to go there and pay it. Right. So I go there and I can't find the place. My GPS can't find. I can't find it. I pull over. I see a cop. I told him. I says, "Look, I got to pay this today, and I have no idea where this place is." He said, "I'll tell you what. Follow me. I'll drive you in." I'm like, "What the hell, really?" So he did. He literally pulled out in front of me, and I followed him. He didn't put the lights on or anything, and he took me directly to the place where I had to pay. He says, "Here's where you pay." I said, "Okay, thank you." I parked the truck. I go in. I stand in line. I'm there about 10 minutes early, and there's like, I don't know, there was like 40 of us in line. All of us walking up. Here's the 160. Here's the 160. Man, oh man, they pulled in like 2 or 3 grand just that day alone. And I'm like coming out of my truck going, well, that's pretty good. You know, you speed and all of a sudden they get you, they tell you to pay cash and they're making 2 or 3 grand a day on the city. Somebody's making some good money in that city. This is not unusual. Yes, I did break the law. Yes, I did speed. And you don't want to take that one to court and fight it. You want to go in and shut your mouth and just pay it. Especially when it's not going on your license, it's not taking off any points. I mean, your insurance ain't going to go up. I mean, I was the stupid one that decided to do that. But there's some quick stories about how I beat speeding tickets. Anytime I get pulled over for a speeding ticket, 9 times out of 10, I don't admit it. As that police officer is walking up to my vehicle, I am thinking about how am I going to beat this in court and what am I going to say. Just like when I showed people how to play chess, one chess move after another is what it is. And you have a very short time to be quick on your feet. But I've used everything from big tires to my steering wheel being out of whack because believe it or not, if you go to court and you can prove that steering wheel was out of whack, the judge will throw it out. Same thing with the tires. They want 100% crucifixion rate. Okay? If you can find any little thing in there, you will probably get out of it. It's a pain in the butt. You got to go to court. You got to go do all that. But you will probably get yourself off. The other problem with going to court, if you're not sure, like more than 70% that you can win, you're probably going to end up with some court costs and some other things. So you got to balance that when you decide what you're doing. But, you know, you're not going to jail. Well, you could go to jail if you're going too fast. But you're not, you know, think of it as a game. Never, ever admit to a cop that you were speeding. Oh, I know I was going that fast. I'm sorry. Oh, I had to get there quick. You know, don't ever say, now, sometimes cops will say, well, where are you coming from? Don't be stupid and say, I'm coming from that bar down the street. Oh, boy. Now you're going to be walking the line and everything. Don't be that dumb. And if you're not sure what to say, yeah, then in the U.S., always plead the fifth. I don't answer questions. Here's my insurance. Here's my license. And be done with it that way. It may upset him a little bit, but be as polite as possible. And I've never done that. I've never had to plead the fifth. Not yet. But it's always in the back of my head if I ever get stuck. But that's how I got out of my speeding tickets. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.